Okay, and I'm back with some more broken sword. Let's continue, shall we? Of course, you can't check the end door, but let's, for just for a laugh, try the key on this door.
It wasn't the right key for the door. The sign on the door read 22. The door was locked. The sign on the door read 22. The sign on the door read 21. The door was locked.
Okay, so use the key on the door.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key.
And let's have a look in here before we go and look at the window. We'll look at
It was a massive mahogany wardrobe.
Let's open the wardrobe.
There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor.
Just a bit of humour put in by the developers. A nice touch, I think. Let's have a look at the bedside table. Nothing more in here, just these two things, but it's worth having a look.
A cabinet stood beside the bed. The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did.
Okay, let's have a look at. Let's go over to the window, shall we? Okay. Damn, we can't save it. Oh. The original has a very funny, humorous bit in this bit where he actually says something quite humorous, but it doesn't do it in this. Damn. It's not good. Okay, so we're in the killer's room. Now,
The bed was several times larger than the narrow cot I'd been given at the place I was staying.
let's search the bed. Never know, might come up with something.
The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty.
Okay, let's have a look at this bedside cabinet.
The cabinet had no drawers, just a single door. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed.
Right, I'm going to go for this video for another 45 minutes. It's now 1:45, so I'll be done at 1:30. Maybe we'll do one more video after that for another half an hour. I'll then look to do another video later tonight, and I'll hopefully get these uploaded maybe this afternoon. I'm hoping. Going to convert them, then I'll upload them.
The closet was a solid, impressive piece of antique furniture.
Let's try going out the door.
It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. As Khan opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed.
Nice little touch added
This
in
guy was
there.
a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed.
Nice little funny bit there, bit of humour. Okay, we've got the killer's pants. Now on this version you can zoom into them. There's none of that stupid fancy crap with examine them and you automatically get something.
I wondered if the guy was colorblind. I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. There was nothing in the pocket. There was no bulge in the pocket. The pocket was empty.
Okay, so the pocket is empty, but do you notice this?
A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back up with strong thread and a special stitch. A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back. I flipped the pants over. It looked like there could be something in this pocket. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. The pocket was empty. I found nothing in the pocket. I tried not to think that the assassin's butt had just been in here. I pulled on the metal tag and the thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. I turned the pants over again. I searched the pocket gingerly and found a pass card. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. There was nothing in the pocket. There was nothing else in the secret pocket. I turned the pants over again. I turned the pants over again.
Okay, that's all in here, so let's exit the room. And if we go back downstairs and talk to the clerk about what Merlin was putting in the safe, which is actually what was in that briefcase.
What now, monsieur?
Let's try and get it, shall we?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur.
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive. The clerk wore a disdainful expression, like he'd been born with it.
Okay, so the clerk is not being helpful again, so let's talk to Lady Piermont.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
This is the key to room 21.
That's next to the room taken by that rotten Merlin, isn't it?
Yes, and it's vacant.
Really? How convenient.
Maybe it was my imagination, but I had an uncomfortable feeling about this situation. Yeah. Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a strange stranger's glance, those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Here we go.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Okay.
It was the ancient manuscript which Khan had stolen from Plantow.
What now, monsieur?
Did I show you this?
Oh,
Oui, monsieur.
didn't mean to do that.
Do you want this manuscript back?
After all the fuss it caused? No, you keep it.
Okay, so let's just talk to the other two about it. But if you're new to playing this game, and there will be new people out there who do play this game,
Hello again. Do you recognize this key?
No, I do not.
This is a photo of Khan, right?
That is just one of the names by which he is known.
Does the name on this matchbook mean anything to you?
Indeed it does, for Alamut was the home of the old man of the mountains. You do not know him?
No, I don't. Do you recognize this card?
No, I do not.
Have you ever seen this old manuscript before? You know what it is, don't you?
You are in great danger. Put the manuscript back and leave here.
What's going on?
I can say no more.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
okay, so you get a few different responses about the manuscript, but don't go out the front doors.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
This is what Merlin was so keen to hide.
Really? All that fuss for a sample of wallpaper?
It's some kind of manuscript, and it looks to be very old.
If I was you, I'd keep it well out of sight until you're clear of this place.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I could roll it up and put it down my pants.
No, that wouldn't do at all. You'd attract far too much attention.
Okay, so obviously, if you go out, Fluff and Guido are still going to be outside. Now, the first time I played this game, I of course didn't know what I had to do. Until I think I actually worked it out, and it's ingenious way to actually get through this bit. If you go back upstairs, and you go out the window again, you remember that alleyway that we went down earlier that had nothing to interact with? Well, there's a reason for that. If you open up the inventory,
It was the ancient manuscript which Khan had stolen from Plantar. I resisted a childish desire to toss things from a height.
I didn't know that happened.
I resisted a childish desire. I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Okay. So, we don't have it on us anymore, which means we can now get past Flap and Guido without being detected of anything. Let's go back downstairs. And now we're going to find out just what this manuscript is about and why Plantar was killed for it.
Hold it right there. Search him again, Flap.
Nothing, Guido.
Okay, let him go.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out.
Okay, a cutscene's coming up, so I'm going to keep quiet. So enjoy.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. Come in, Josh.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantar?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades.
Enjoy the cutscene.
This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
Okay, so it cut that cutscene, which I'm a bit annoyed about, but there's nothing, you can't really do much. So let's ask about this.
I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue. A name or an address? That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. I found this in the killer's room.
What is it? A credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Let's have a look at this first.
A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
A knight with a crystal ball. The knight scroll bears a phrase in Latin. Through my teachings, you will be enlightened.
Let's look at this one.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod.
And let's look at this one.
There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover? It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krone Museum. I'll give you the address.
Let's look at it again.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
It cut off before I could actually do this one, which I don't know why it's doing that, but it is.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the Wicked Queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said mirror, mirror on the wall, wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either.
Okay, so the manuscript is... there's nothing more...
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
A knight with a crystal ball. The knight scroll bears a phrase in...
For some reason, I can't exit it.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them, there's a guy...
Okay, so...
Are you sure you've never heard of Thomas Merlin?
Positive.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh. Well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking?
Okay, there's nothing more to do here, so let's go and check out the Crew Museum.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobino at the Krone Museum.
Before we go there, we're going to go to the police station. And you can see that Moo is back sitting, or standing, at the desk.
It was just some police paperwork, a search warrant. Excuse me, Sergeant.
What do you want now?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing? Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. It's Stobart, monsieur. He insists on talking to you again.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Doctor, my mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. No tricks, mark you, monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need. If only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed.
But
Have been taken off the case.
what about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
Have you heard of the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. But of course, monsieur, their fame is widespread throughout France. We haven't forgotten them, unlike the rest of Europe.
It was the King of France who persecuted them, though.
Indeed.
That shook his cool. Underneath his cultured facade, the man was real twitchy. You're obviously a great admirer of the Knights Templar.
They were men of great honor, monsieur. The flower of chivalry.
Not everyone would share your views, Inspector.
Not everyone shares my passion for Bartok.
But if the Templars were as honorable as...
That's enough. I do not wish to hear your uninformed opinions, Stobart.
Why do you get so wound up about the Knights Templar? They've been dead for centuries. I shouldn't have pushed my luck. Maybe his ancestors were Templars. Whatever. I saw the anger flare in his eyes like a distant summer thunderstorm.
The Templars were the first true internationalists. 800 years on, and still the world is fragmented by nationalistic flag-waving fools. You will excuse me.
Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No, you must forget the business of the crown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobart.
Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantar.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
Do you know a pair of thugs called Flap and Guido?
I have known those two since they graduated from special school. Flap is a nasty piece of work, but Guido is the real brains of the partnership. Where did you hear of them?
I met them out front of the Hotel Ubu. So long, Inspector.
Shame you can't talk about anything else, but there you go.
Did I show you my tool, Sergeant?
Yes, monsieur. Unfortunately, you did.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you, Sergeant?
That's a double-line Swedish with a crosshatch Bergman strike strip. Now, that's unusual. Pre-war Anderson hinging.
Really?
I haven't seen a reinforced Anderson outside of a private collection.
It's rare, then?
In this part of the world, yes. There are only 3 places these are made. Taiwan, Manila, and Slough.
Maybe not. Do you recognize this dirty tissue?
I told you, no, monsieur.
Are you sure you don't want this false nose?
Don't try my patience, monsieur.
So yeah, we've asked Rosso, and we pushed him a little bit, so he's not particularly happy. But if you call him out and then say it doesn't matter, he gets a bit angry, and a very funny, a conversation comes out, which I always found humorous.
I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur? Where is the victim?
I'm the victim. I've been harassed by a pair of thugs.
I see. And where did this alleged assault take place?
Outside the Hotel Ubu. They stopped me as I was leaving and went through my pockets.
Could you describe the suspects, monsieur?
One looked like a gorilla, and the other looked like a weasel. Their names are Flap and Guido.
Oh, I'll get them this time.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his right cheek.
No, monsieur.
He also calls himself Thomas Merlin.
I'm sorry, Monsieur Stobart. I don't know him. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume.
Okay, so let's leave.
See you later, Sergeant.
Right, let's go to the crew museum. Oh, they've taken away those bushes. Oh, that's a shame. You get some very funny comments from George about these bushes and about that window, but you can't even interact with that anymore. Oh, you know, even though this game's got updated graphics and more puzzles and, you know, more things to interact with, it's lost that charm of the original. That's why the debate of whether or not to actually, you know, continue and just start the original. But then again, you know, I could just do the original after I've done this, or sometime in the near future I could just do the original. So there you go. Of course, if I was to do the original, I'll be skipping all the talking and getting through it quickly. You know, just doing like a bit of a speed run. But if we have a look around the museum, let's have a look at this over here.
The totem pole looked distinctly out of place in the setting of the museum. The totem pole looked distinct.
Watch out! You'll have that done on top of us!
There's nothing you can interact with, and they've taken away all those awesome fixtures of the original.
It was an ancient Egyptian sarcophagus with a beautifully painted effigy of its owner on the lid.
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
Closet? It's a sarcophagus. In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marne at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory.
Ireland! What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited.
Now, a very funny thing happens if you actually go to touch the case. So I'll show you.
As I reached toward the display case, a shrill piping filled the air. I froze, then tried to get myself together and act nonchalantly.
No, monsieur. No. No.
Okay.
Oh, took out that bloody speech as well.
No. No, monsieur. No.
What's wrong?
You must not handle the exhibits.
I'm sorry.
Now, what did I tell you about touching the exhibits?
Was it you can touch all you want so long as your hands are clean?
Not quite, monsieur. It was do not touch, not ever.
Oh yeah, that was
Bit
it.
of humour there.
This is ridiculous. I could be in for hours.
Yeah, a bit of a funny thing there.
Don't even think of climbing in there, monsieur. You'll be suffocated.
I always wondered how it felt to be a mummy.
Okay, so
Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobineau?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobineau does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Hold on, just sending a text. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I just had to send a text.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar. Though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park. No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar. Not like Monsieur Lobineau.
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John Dee.
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
But whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology. Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no! That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Okay, so let's ask him about this.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
Yeah. It doesn't mention John Dee at all.
Most remiss.
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see. I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village school teacher. He taught me the alphabet. Wait, 19 letters of it. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied art and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age?
Well, that's
Dream on.
encouragement, isn't it? Well, we're going to leave here for now because
Thanks
we're
for
getting
your
to
help.
the end of the video.
Hi. I've been to the Kroon Museum.
Did you speak to Lobineau?
No, he wasn't there. I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Loch Marn.
I have heard of Lochmarn. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
A popular gossip magazine. You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Loch Marn. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a 4th series of his popular television program. This site at Loch Marn must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's gem is important, why don't you visit Loch Marn?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly?
Okay, so we're gonna have to go to Ireland. So let's make a move.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Oh, damn. Let's just go here for a second, and we're gonna save the game. 'Cause I'm just gonna check something. Okay. Right, so as you can see, we're on the map of Europe now. We've got Paris, of course, and we've got Ireland, or Loch Marn. But I'm afraid you're going to have to wait until next time for that. So I'm going to thank everyone for watching. I'm very grateful for everyone who does watch my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I'll be very grateful. And I hope you're enjoying this Let's Play of Broken Sword Director's Cut. Broken Sword, the Shadow of the Templars Director's Cut. Now, you may be thinking, am I going to do the next one, Smoke and Mirror? Well, yes, I am. Maybe back to back, but maybe in a little while. Of course, I'm going to have to get a few games done before July, because then, of course, I've got my big LP coming up, which will be Final Fantasy VII, which is going to take me quite a long time to do. I've thought about recently to actually push that forward. But I don't know. I may well start it, but I won't be uploading until July, which, for obvious reasons. I'll be then, well into the game, but I'll have to see about that. But I'm going to go back to I can't save. Damn. I'm going to go back to Paris for a second and just go here, and of course I will see everyone in the next video. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you then.